We're trying to work out how I can avoid blowing my microphones.
Actually, in the first performance in Donaueschingen, we broke a window, and the director of Donaueschingen found that amazingly good. He thought that was something that a sound installation never did before.
This is Jay, a composer known for his powerful orchestral works. But Jay is also known for something else. You see, in 1999, he stumbled upon a pretty crazy acoustic phenomena with gongs.
Okay, be careful.
Wait, you starting them now?
I'm going to start this.
Wait, I'm not ready. I got to protect my microphones.
I was recording a lot of percussion instruments to write for an ensemble piece. And the gong was on the other side of the loudspeaker. And what I did during the recording is I had the loudspeakers on, which you never do. When you're recording, you don't want to have your loudspeakers on. And it was a mistake. And I hit the gong, and from the vibrations of the gong, the posts of the loudspeakers loosened. The loudspeaker slowly slipped down, turned around, and looked into the middle of the back of the gong, on the other side of which was a microphone. And all of a sudden the gong went, and the loudspeaker blew up. And then I knew I'm through with whatever piece I was working on. This is the new thing.
Essentially what Jay discovered was that you could introduce a gong as part of a feedback loop. In a regular feedback loop, sounds are picked up by a microphone and then amplified by a speaker, which again gets picked up by the microphone and then amplified by the speaker in a loop, often until the sound is unbearably loud. In Jay's setup, there is a gong in between the microphone and the speaker. Anything that's picked up by the microphone gets amplified by the speaker, which then vibrates the gong. The vibrations of the gong then get picked up by the microphone and then amplified by the speaker, which again vibrates the gong. In other words, the gong is almost acting like a filter in this feedback loop. It's essentially encouraged to vibrate to its own natural resonances. You're kind of encouraging the gong to play itself.
We need a strong subwoofer for this. Not necessarily for the power, but for the frequency range.
So, why are we getting a new one?
Because the loudspeakers tend to, with time, if they're not super strong, this is an example, this coil burnt because the frequencies are sometimes so low.
And so you just blow them?
They just blow, yeah. I did an installation once in Kassel for the Documenta that was 100 days, and we had to change loudspeakers every few days, and we burnt up dozens and dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of loudspeakers.
And once they're blown, you can't use them for anything?
No. I mean, you can use them for decoration. I have to figure out, maybe I can make salad bowls out of them or something. Sometimes it'll go over into something like this, where now the gong is not in harmony with itself. This is what I find super interesting. And now it's starting to shake because it's not a sine wave and it's not a violin string. It's not made to vibrate in this way necessarily. And everyone has a different format of where it would start to vibrate in these kind of, it's having different tones with itself, actually. You hear the vibrations. And now it'll start to go into another format. The gong vibrate as if you were to hit it without contact. So a contact with the gong, the actual beater of a gong, does make the gong move. At the same time, because of the contact, it breaks the vibration of its own pure vibration. So the purest that the gong can vibrate would be if it were not hit at all. But how do you get a gong to vibrate? How do you hold a gong without holding it and make it vibrate? The only way to do that is by air.
What's also crazy is that by using this feedback system, you don't even have to initiate the sound. All you do is turn the speaker and microphone on.
You are actually making a snowball effect of a grain of nothing. You don't need an initial tone or initial signal to start with. It will start by just being turned on, because in the air there's always something that is making a sound. Something's very, very, very tiny. And that's how the snowball effect of feedback starts. It's just from nothing, and it keeps amplifying itself. The more energy I put into it, and energy means the more I open the channel for the feedback, so that the more air will be hitting the gong, then the louder the gong will be, but the gong tends to raise in pitch by doing that. So, and that I can influence myself, the actual pitch, I can just give it more amplitude. So there we're on the cusp, here we're on. This is the most interesting part for me, is this cusp where it starts to give the overtones. And what I try to do when I program this on the computer is I try to program exactly as if I'm a conductor following these. So now you hear it go up and makes a little glissando. Some of the gongs will make a glissando of a major or minor third. This one only goes a little bit more than a half step. It gets really interesting when I put a number of gongs together, starting at 1 meter, 1 meter 20, and that size of gongs, that the subsonics of them start to give difference tones in the room. And all you hear is, and you walk through the room of several of these gongs, and it's like sculpture, literally in the air. You turn your head here and you have different sounds than you turn that way. And you walk through literally subsonics. It's amazing. I can quasi imitate what it would be like with, let's just say I'll do imitation of an organ. So if we were to combine this with a very low organ, just for an example. Now you can watch the gong play with that tone, difference tones wise. And this is where it gets interesting. This is maybe a simulation of what it would sound like with several gongs, because you get the microtonal differences. Where's my gong? When we busted the window, it wasn't loud. It was actually on the subsonic level. It was actually really, really quiet. I had 10 gongs that are all at a pianissimo level, but they're all super, super low. The beating, you can feel it in the air with your hands practically. I would say that this system is what the gong wants to do. This is what it does the best with this kind of feedback system.
If you find this sort of thing interesting, I highly recommend you go check out Jay's music. I'll leave some links in the description. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one. This video is brought to you by me and my company, Swansonic. Swansonic is an AI platform with some really unique programs, but we're devoted to finding methods of using AI to benefit musicians and the music industry, to essentially get people more interested in high-level music. And we're working on some really crazy stuff at the moment. If you're interested, go on over to swansonic.com and join the waiting list.